Okay, now we're moving to how to grow your money. The question raised was, what is better, investment or savings?
So it depends. As I've mentioned, when it comes to money, sometimes it's never a clear black or white. This is right, this is wrong. So if, for example, I am saving to buy a house, I'm going to need a deposit. I'm going to need money for transfer duties, for lawyers' fees, all of that. So I need to, let's say I'm buying this house in 6 months' time. So I'm going to have to put my money in a savings account and let it yield whatever interest it can get. I'm basically putting it there for safekeeping. So that's the best thing I can do because that's what I need. But then if, let's say, I'm just on have some spare money lying around, I wouldn't mind investing in something and I really don't need this money, not in the next year or 2 or even 5 years, then I can immediately say, okay, let me put the same amount into something like shares and then I'll just see how this company grows and does over time. So now I'm investing. So these shares could dip in the next 6 months and it's fine, I won't worry. So if I need this money for my house deposit in 6 months' time and the value of the shares has decreased, what am I going to do? I'm suffering because I'm going to struggle because I'm going to be forced to take out the money at lower than whatever it is that I invested in. Whereas if it's safe in a savings account, I'll take it out with a little bit of interest and I'll do what I need to do. So it always depends on what is your time horizon, what are your immediate needs. If it's something that you need quite soon, then make sure that you save it because that's what it's putting it away for safekeeping. I always say saving is just safekeeping because you need it. It's planned for. There's something that you're gonna do with that money. But investing, it's I'm sowing. I'm planting something here and it's gonna grow over time and I'm not in a rush to see it grow. So that's the main difference.
Okay. So it's all about the purpose of why you're doing this and whether or not you can afford to keep this money there for a long period or not.
Yeah.
Now, speaking to investment, there are people who are earning a whole lot of money and there are people who are not so, it's not so great for them, but both want to invest. Can we speak to a person who is not earning much? What can they do to invest? Maybe they have 50 or 100 or 500 spare every month. How can they invest their money in the best possible way?
Okay. So there's lots of different products out there. I won't be advocating for any. This is not financial advice. It's basically like a discussion of generic things to look out for. So I would say that it's important for you to kind of, okay, so for a low income earner, the thing is like we've got the same, I'm thinking now. Because it's like we all have the same
goals, yeah.
So it doesn't matter
how much
I wouldn't say
earning.
There's a difference.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've all got the same goal of I'm putting money away and I want it to grow. And if I have 5 times more than you, then I just happen to have 5 times more than you. But we can still put it in the same investment products because we just want to plant and we want to see it grow. So you can still go and purchase your shares and see them grow over time and get smaller dividends because you've put in a smaller amount, but you will see also the capital growth if ever you want to dispose of those shares in a few years' time, and that's fine. So because you all start out slowly, but sometimes what happens is when you're a low income earner, you think, oh no, I must wait until I have this lump sum, then I can start. You don't have to have a lump sum. Like there's this new platform that everyone, not really new anymore, but there's a platform that lots of people are using to buy their shares and ETFs, and that's Easy Equities. So when you've got a platform like that, you can buy a share for 1 rand, you can buy a share for 50 rand, you can buy a share for 3,000 rand. So it all depends on how much you have. So you can put in as little as you have, and then your shares will be growing. But the important thing is to start, whether you have a high income or a low income, as long as you start. Because once you start and you see that growth, I promise you, that discipline muscle is gonna be forcing you. It's gonna call you, say, no, you won't even
need
need to exercise the discipline, because you're going to be excited by seeing all the growth, seeing the dividends come. They say you're getting dividends of 10 rands. Then you just get excited that if I put in a little bit more, this could be 100 rand next year.
Yeah.
That's why I always say the key is to start, because once you start, the ball is just rolling now. It's going to continue growing. So yeah, I would say whether you have a small income or a high income, you can always invest in similar products. It's just that obviously you can expect lower growth or lower return if you are putting in a small amount, but then the return is also a percentage.
Yeah.
So if it's 50% for me and 50% for you, based on our base, it will be different, but you're still getting whatever percentage growth that you're going. But 50%, guys, is not the norm.
Just so you know.
Just saying, it could be 10%, it could be anything, but yeah, basically the percentage growth is what you should look at.
Yeah. So it's not about whether we're getting a high income or a low income. We need to start where we are with what we have. So whatever access you have, 50 rand, 100, 500, 1,000, use that and let the process start. With the shares and all, what does one need to know before embarking on that journey? Are there tips that you can give us so that a person doesn't make foolish decisions with their finances?
Okay, so when it comes to shares, I would say you need to know what you're looking for. Are you looking to get dividends out of this company? You want them, whenever they're declaring dividends, then you want to get that. That's what your focus is. Or is your focus capital growth, in that you want to buy them as low as possible and sell them as high as possible? Or are you looking for like a mixture of both? Because that will inform your decision. Yeah, that will inform your decision of, okay, this is how much I'm willing to put in and why, and this is the company I want to invest in and why. Because there are companies with very expensive shares, but they don't even pay that much dividends. And there's companies with cheaper shares and they pay healthy dividends, but those shares just don't grow in value. So it's important to just know what it is that you're looking for. And then at the same time, you also need to know that when the markets are down or decreasing, it doesn't matter. Don't now think you need to sell just because you think you think it's gonna go further. No, sometimes you just need to wait it out. But also, like, exercise caution. If you know that it's a dying industry, then you want to get out before you make additional losses, but just be informed. So one thing when you are investing in shares is to try read the news, subscribe to some newsletters, so as you know more or less what's going on with different companies, with different industries, because you don't want to make an ill-informed decision. And then one other thing that's quite important when it comes to investing is to diversify. You don't want to put all your shares in companies that do the same thing. Like, for example, you're putting all your shares, Vodacom, MTN, you're buying all those, and then you've got nothing in mining, you've got nothing in financial services sector, you've got nothing in the retail industry. So you need to diversify so that if there is an industry that's tanking, for example, last year, if you were, let's say, invested in airlines and hotels, and then obviously those ones were doing horribly because there was not much traveling because of the pandemic, everything was restricted. So you would have lost a lot of value in your shares if all your money was just in the travel and hospitality industry. But if you were diversifying communications, all of that, because those ones were booming, because now we all want to stay connected, then if you were diversifying, then you could find that as much as you're making a loss here, this side you're making a profit, so you're not incurring all the losses. So it's very important to just diversify. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. So that one basket can be one company or one industry. So diversify between the different companies and industries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Diversify.
Yeah. And of course, as we've mentioned, ETFs, exchange traded funds, are already nice because they are fairly diversified
within themselves.
So you don't have to do the hard work for yourself. But if you're investing in individual stocks or individual shares, then you also need to diversify.
Okay. Would you consider business as a form of investment, like your own personal business?
Definitely. So a business is an investment because already, if you think about it, when we're buying shares, we're investing in different businesses. It's just that it's businesses that are run by other people. So it's called passive investing. We investing passively because we're not actively busy in that business. And then if it's now your own business, it's called active investing because now you're the one who's working the ground and watering those seeds and making sure that it actually does grow. So it's similar to how someone can be investing in a tomatoes company that's making tomatoes. You buy their shares, you get dividends, and there's also share growth. But then you can decide yourself, no, I want to grow my own tomatoes. I want to make the money and see the profit myself. So, and then extract value in the way of dividends or also paying myself a salary. So there's different ways. It's just that this one where you're owning the business is a bit more active. So it's called active investing. And the other one is a bit more passive. You just putting your money in and then you're letting it do the work. But they're both ways of investing.
Okay, thank you for that. Moving on now to tax. A lot of people don't like tax and SARS and all of that. So what should a South African resident know about tax?
Okay. You can't escape it. They always say there's one guarantee: death and tax. Nothing else. So those are the only two guarantees in life. You're going to die and you're going to have to pay taxes, especially if you are making some form of income. So that's one thing you must know. And what's important, let's say if you're an individual, is that there's things that, like I've mentioned, like your retirement annuities, your pension fund contributions. So those ones are tax deductible. So you actually get a little bit of money if you get a little bit of money back if you are contributing to those funds. Because basically the government is compensating you and then you'll pay the tax like back when you actually are claiming those funds upon retirement. So that's quite cool. So it's something that you must really consider when you're paying your taxes, when you're planning your taxes. Okay, let me have a retirement annuity. And also if you're contributing to a medical aid, you need to like have your medical aid certificate and then also add that the amount that you're contributing, because you do get a deduction for that. Because basically what happens is when it comes to companies, they get income from whatever sales or revenue they make, and then they get to deduct a whole lot of expenses. But for now, us as natural persons, according to the Tax Act, there's not much that we can deduct. We can't be deducting our groceries and our petrol money. So what happens is then you kind of can deduct those retirement and medical expenses. So it's important to just keep that. And if you are getting a travel allowance from work, keep those kilometers logged so that you can claim a bit of the kilometers that you've traveled for business against your travel allowance income that they're going to be taxing you on. So it's those little things that people just need to be aware of. And something else that people maybe don't focus on or don't know is that if you are donating to a specific NGO, they can give you a certificate so that you can get a bit of a tax benefit for that as well. So it's usually capped to about 10% of your taxable income. So you can't now claim your whole your whole taxable income as donated all of this to an NGO. No, but like 10% of it usually you can have as a deduction. So that's something nice. If you know that you're charitable, then hey, you might as well get the tax benefit from that as well.
So basically, SARS tax, the government is sort of promoting good behavior, getting a medical aid, getting a retirement annuity, giving.
Yes,
to charity.
It's promoting. Yeah, it's definitely promoting good behavior.
SARS is not all bad, guys. They have some goodness to them.
Yes, it's not all bad, and there are various ways that you can plan your tax accordingly, so that you can avoid paying too much tax than you should, but then you also don't want to now do illegal things where you are now evading tax. Tax evasion is illegal, but avoiding it by doing, like for example, instead of donating to an unregistered NGO, donate to a registered one that can give you that certificate so that you can get that deduction. So it's all about just making sure that you know what's going on and then you act accordingly.
If you feel like this is useful, like I'm feeling like this is useful, be sure to click the like button, click the red subscribe button. It's completely free and it just supports my channel, and I would really, really appreciate that. Now, still on tax, we know that we pay, when you get paid from work, there's PAYE, pay as you earn. I've heard that sometimes your employer might not pay the correct amount and you might be liable. Still having uncertainties regarding financial success? Join us for the third and final segment of Financial Success with Sinikiwe Ngcobo, where we discuss pay as you earn, the 50-30-20 rule, business partnership drama, shopping, and budgeting.